Well, as I'm saying, it's not good. Welcome back. And today's special guest we have is Julie.
Thank you, Chris.
Hello, Iris. Today's topic we're going to be talking about Halloween. So how do you know a lot about Halloween and Julie?
Well, Chris, it's something I've always been interested in, Halloween. As a child, I was always drawn towards that festival. And it was at that time that I think I started to look into what my beliefs were. And I would describe myself as a pagan. Some people use lots of different words to describe that. Mm-hmm. Some people might call themselves a witch. There's Druids, there's Wiccans. But I call myself a pagan. And I'm someone who follows a belief system that's based all around the earth and the seasons of nature.
And we also know we have a different name for Halloween. So Julie, can you explain what it is, please?
I can, Chris. And I'm very happy that we get to talk about Halloween because it's a time of year that I really enjoy. So thank you for doing that. So Halloween has a few different names. Mm-hmm. The name Halloween actually comes from All Hallows Eve. Mm-hmm. Which was something that was made to Christianise the festival. So the church has a day called All Hallows, and the night before would be All Hallows Eve, and that's where Halloween came from. But before that, it was known as Samhain, and that's a Celtic word. It can be a little bit difficult. It's written here, and it's spelled Samhan, and that's a Celtic word. And that means summer's end.
So what is the history of Halloween and how did it start?
Well, Halloween goes back a long time. It's been around, maybe in different names, for quite a long time. I'd written down, because I did a little bit of Googling, and it goes back like 2,000 years. And it was traditionally a very Gaelic festival. So it was something that we celebrated, the Irish people, the Scottish people, the Welsh celebrated it. Mm-hmm. Some people in England, and the Isle of Man was a big place that celebrated Samhain. And it's about there's a cycle of life which I brought like a little wheel, and we pagans will follow a wheel of different festivals that are for nature, and Samhain would be what was the Celtic New Year. So where you might celebrate New Year in January, mm-hmm. Pagans often celebrate it now at Halloween or Samhain. And it was the Celtic New Year. And it was about the nights getting darker. Because, the clocks go back at this time of year, don't they?
It does.
And I think people like to hunker down and get warm and cosy because we see the dark nights are coming in. Mm-hmm. And that was very much what people would celebrate this time of year. So it was a time to be with your family. It was a time to feast and have food and nice drink. I mean, we still get that now. We still see Starbucks, don't we, doing a nice pumpkin spice latte. So people still do these things. And it was just a way to get ready for the winter that was coming. I believe Halloween is for hunkering down for the winter, getting comfortable, making sure we've got enough things in to keep us going, and celebrating with our friends and family.
So, how is Halloween /Samhain is celebrated in religious festival now versus ancient times?
That's a good question, really. I wish I was around in the ancient times to see how it was celebrated, but I imagine that it was a time when people were getting ready for the winter setting in. So you would have to make sure you had enough food, drinking. Because people also believe at this time of year that the veil between our world and the next is thin. So there's this conception that there's this belief that spirits might be around or our ancestors might have gone. And I think people would put candles out in their windows so that the spirits could see where to come and come home for the festival. I think it was very nature-based. I think it would have been very much lighting candles. Then as it got more into Christian, people would say prayers for the dead. Yeah. I think it would have been celebrated much like that in the olden times with feasts, celebrations. And now, of course, in modern times, we're a little bit spoilt these days because you
Yeah.
only have to go into your local supermarket, don't you, to see lots of things on sale for Halloween now. People like to dress up in costumes, have parties. People knock on the door and say trick or treat,
Yes.
and you usually have some sweets for the children, don't you,
Yes.
if they come in, to get to share with them and give them sweets. So I think it's celebrated. I enjoy that people celebrate it now. And even though some of the things wouldn't have been what our ancestors would have done, I think it is keeping the tradition alive in some respects. And people get interested and wonder about it. That's how I got involved in paganism, through Halloween. So I like the modern Halloween. I know some people don't, but I think it opens people's eyes to what the festival really is, and you can look beyond the dressing up, the trick-or-treats, and see some of those ancient things, you know, because people in olden times would make things like soul cakes, and children would come to people's doors and say prayers for the recently departed. So people would reward them by giving them a soul cake, and that's where the trick-or-treating comes from.
Okay.
You know, so the old ways are still there if you look hard enough, beyond all the plastic costumes and the parties and the celebrations. But it's a fun time, so why not get dressed up and go out and enjoy Halloween?
Yeah. Julie, you mentioned pumpkins.
I did.
Why do we make jack-o'-lanterns?
Jack-o'-lanterns. Well, the term jack-o'-lantern comes from an old story. And it was a story, again, set in Scotland, because we're looking at it as being a Celtic festival, aren't we? So in Scotland, there was a story about Stingy Jack. And Stingy Jack didn't like to spend any money. We're not putting a slur on Scottish people here, by the way. So what would happen with Stingy Jack is he didn't like to spend any money. I suppose that's why he was a bit stingy.
Right.
So when he passed, the devil decided he could neither go to hell or heaven because he'd been greedy in his life and he didn't have anything. So the devil allegedly gave him a hot coal.
Aye.
So he didn't know what to do with his hot coal. So he carved a pumpkin. Well, he did have a pumpkin. He had a swede or a turnip. And he put his hot coal inside it. And that's where the jack-o'-lantern comes from.
Ah.
Because that's all he had. He couldn't go to hell. He couldn't go to heaven. He just had this hot coal.
So
And he put it in a lantern, so it got his name Jack-o'-lantern. But a lot of people believe by putting the candle in the pumpkin or whatever you're making with it, and you can put it in your window at Halloween or Samhain, that it will help the dead people, the spirits, find their way to the house if they want to come and visit. So the candle or the light will draw like a will-o'-the-wisp. They're really popular at Halloween as well. And the candle will help them find the light and come to visit you. So that's my story about the jack-o'-lantern.
That's good. Julia, how do you feel when people, non-pagan, celebrate Halloween?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's a good thing. I believe that we should all celebrate everyone's festivals because we learn things like that, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a believer, if you're not sure about something, someone's belief or their religion, why not ask them some questions? And then you're going to go away knowing that person a lot better. And you might learn some things as well along the way. Should never be afraid to ask something. So for me, I like people celebrating it, whether they're a pagan or not. You know, paganism is probably one of the oldest religions in this country. And, you know, it's good to keep those ways alive. So for me, I'd be more than happy to talk to anyone about it, share my views, listen to theirs. And isn't celebrating always a good thing?
It is.
So for me, it's about, you know, being able to stand up and say, I'm a pagan, I celebrate Samhain, this is my religion, these are my beliefs. We can listen, you can tell me what yours are, we can share ideas and views. I think it's really nice that people are still celebrating Halloween after all these years.
And that's about it. Thank you to our special guest, Julia. And there was no more guest. Sorry, we have to wait a little bit longer. But